What's going on, everybody? Josh Engleman for Awesemo.com, and I am back with my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Thursday, April 22nd. Now, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all of our other content goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman so you can get updates to these sim results as we get closer to lock. Finally, let me know in the comment section who is your favorite and least favorite of my contenders for today's slate. We are rounding out the bottom of my top 10 with Giannis Antetokounmpo, Terry Rozier, Kobe White, Daniel Tice, and Sadiq Bey on the outside looking in. Who will be my favorites, my top 5 plays for the day? It's time to find out. Coming in at the number 5 spot, we've got point guard eligible Kemba Walker. He is 7,400, projected for 40. The goal is 48. He's in the optimal lineup 25% of the time. Celtics are going to be without Jaylen Brown. No Evan Fournier, no Robert Williams. Q tag on Jason Tatum, but I've got him in for right now. With no Jaylen Brown, Kemba Walker sees a nice bump to his usage rate. In fact, I've got him at 30% usage for this game. 1.14 fantasy points per minute, 35 minutes. We're talking 23 points, 5.5 assists, 4 boards, maybe a steal, maybe 2 steals. Who knows? Pace down spot against Phoenix. It's obviously a difficult matchup. Suns are really good. However, I expect this matchup to be competitive. And if it is competitive, one, I think Kemba Walker is helping to keep the game competitive along with Jason Tatum. And two, I expect Kemba to get his full run of minutes. Both of those things should happen today. That's why I have Kemba Walker projected for 40 fantasy points. Really like the upside here. 7,400 is not all that problematic of a price tag when Jaylen Brown is out. And it's possible that Kemba Walker rises in these rankings if Jason Tatum happens to be out. So keep your eyes peeled to the news for that. But for now, Kemba Walker, number 5. Next up at number 4, we're also staying in the point guard spot. We're going to Cole Anthony. He is 6,400, projected for 35.5. The goal is 44.5, and he is in the optimal lineup 26% of the time. Now, Anthony has taken over, playing about 30 minutes a game. I've got him in for 32 actually in this one. They've obviously traded away half of their team. Michael Carter-Williams is out. So the minutes are just there for Cole Anthony, and they should want to develop him as well. 1.1 fantasy points per minute in this matchup. He's got 26% usage with all of these other former stars off the floor. 17 points, 5.5 rebounds, and 6 assists. That's a really nice stat line for the rookie. It's a slight pace up spot against the New Orleans Pelicans. You're not worried about the matchup at all. Now, Orlando, obviously not a very good basketball team, but for Cole Anthony, opportunity matters, and he has as much opportunity as he would like in this current situation. That's why we see him getting to the number 4 spot. Now, at number 3, we're going to power forward center eligible PJ Washington, just 5,900 on DraftKings, projected for 32. The goal is just shy of 43. He's in the optimal lineup 27% of the time. We've seen big minutes out of PJ Washington in the last 2 games because Vernon Carey just doesn't appear to be able to stay on the floor. But Washington's also playing very well, and his price tag is depressed for some strange reason. 0.94 fantasy points per minute, neutral usage, so 20%, 14 points, 7 boards, 3 assists, little over a steal, little over a block, pace neutral spot against Chicago, but a terrible Chicago defense. I love you, Vooch, offensively, but you're not there defensively. So this is actually a really nice spot for PJ Washington. I don't know what the rotation is going to look like, but I'm trusting the minutes. They've been big as of late. I'm keeping with 34. Now, it's not out of the realm of possibility that ends up being a little bit lighter and you have a little bit too much PJ Washington, but I think the positional flexibility and the price makes up for that risk. So for PJ Washington, at 5,900, even being able to use him at the power forward spot, that makes it massive. That is why you see PJ Washington get to the number 3 spot. Now, at number 2, we're going to shooting guard, small forward eligible Josh Jackson. He's 5,500, projected for 31. Goal is 41. He's in the optimal lineup 28% of the time. You guys know how much I like that shooting guard, small forward eligibility. Makes it so much easier to fill out a lineup. And I am going with the assumption right now for the Pistons that Mason Plumlee, Jeremy Grant, Corey Joseph, Wayne Ellington, all the old heads for the Pistons, I'm expecting those guys to sit on the back-to-back. We don't know that as of yet, but that is my assumption as of right now. If that news changes, Josh Jackson will fall. But for now, this is a guy that's going to play 30 minutes, north of a fantasy point per minute, with big-time usage, 28% in fact. 17 points, almost 5 boards, 3 assists, 2 stocks. It's a pace neutral spot against San Antonio, so I'm not really worried about the matchup at all. This is just a guy that's going to play 30 minutes as a starter, the primary creator, or at least primary scorer for the team, with the best eligibility you can find on DraftKings. That is as good as it's going to get on a day like today. He opens up everything for you. He gets to number 2. Now, that's not number 1, but I think you're going to understand who's number 1. If I'm ruling out half of the Pistons, I'm probably going to more Pistons. Before we get to that number 1 contender, however, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Then head on over to Twitter and follow me at Josh Engleman. It's the only place you're going to get the updates to my sim results as we get closer to lock. And then finally, in the comment section underneath this video, I want to know who your favorite contender is, your least favorite contender, and the contender that you think should be on this list that you do not see. And finally, the number 1 contender for today's slate, point guard eligible Killian Hayes. He's 4,200, projected for 25.5. The goal's 36.5. I have him in the optimal lineup 31% of the time. If all of these guys happen to be out, we saw Killian Hayes play 30 minutes his last time out. They're going to be resting him regularly, but he sat out the front end of the back-to-back. I'm expecting him to play here. 0.85 fantasy points per minute. He's been playing better than that as of late, so I think I'm being a little pessimistic there. But I feel a little bit more comfortable as well. 20% usage, so perfectly neutral. And then he just does a little bit of everything. 9.5 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, a steal and a half block, so we'll call it 2 stocks overall. Same matchup against San Antonio that we're not really all that worried about. It does make me slightly nervous that Hayes is going to have to meet Jakob Poeltl at the rim. I know that probably sounds ridiculous to some, but Jakob Poeltl is one of the best rim protectors in the league. So that does give me a little bit of pause. But it's not all that often on a 6-game slate that you can get a 30-minute-a-game starter priced at 4,200 that's actually been playing really well. He's not like a complete 0.65 fantasy point per minute guy. So if we get news that these Piston guys are in, then Killian Hayes is not going to be my number 1 contender. He's going to fall down the list. But for right now, given my assumptions, Killian Hayes is the number 1 contender on DraftKings. Alrighty, folks, that will do it. Those are my NBA DFS contenders on DraftKings for Thursday, April 22nd. There's a FanDuel version of this video around here. Click the link and go watch that. We've got the process show in the books already. Broke down all 6 of these games. Go check that out. NBA strategy show with Adam Kaufman coming up a little bit later today, 10 o'clock Eastern time, 10 a.m. in fact. Go watch that. No live before lock, though, so you need to follow me on Twitter to get the updates. We've got one more day of contenders this week, so we'll be closing it out tomorrow. So I will see you guys again tomorrow morning for another edition of the Contenders.